Hello everyone, my name is Leslie. Welcome back to my channel. This is a series of Frugal Thoughts, and my frugal thought for you today is what should you be doing today if you are a frugal tightwad, and or what should you be doing if you are not a frugal tightwad, because of the Federal Reserve Board yesterday, which was June 15th, 2022, raised the interest rates by 0.75%. This is really a trick question, because if you are a frugal tightwad, you really shouldn't be doing anything differently. If you are a frugal tightwad, I'm looking at how bad the lighting is in here. I apologize. If you are a frugal tightwad, you are doing everything you need to do. Tightwad Gazette is a book that I followed starting in the early 90s from years ago. It is written by a woman named Amy Decision, and it talks about saving money and using that money for different things. I have always been a bit of a tightwad, very frugal myself, and because of that, we do not have a credit card balance, and we do not, we pay off our debt. We live very frugally as really like tightwads, which has helped us tremendously. I have spoken in the past about when my husband had a medical issue and was unable to go back to work. Being a tightwad really saved our family at that particular time. So if you are a tightwad and or a very frugal person, these ups and downs and interest rate charges and major life events and calamities shouldn't really affect you dramatically, because you are on the straight and narrow, so to speak. If you are someone who has not been following Amy Decision, and or you are not someone who followed Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps to wealth, this is the time to get serious. And specifically, as Dave Ramsey would say, the first thing you do is you put away $1,000 in an emergency fund, and then you start like a gazelle, with gazelle-like intensity, paying off debt. Debt is what is going to really be affected by these the Federal Reserve's interest rate charges, so that the outstanding debt you have on things like student loans, credit cards, and adjustable rates mortgages are going to really dramatically increase over the next several months. I saw that there was a little graph showing that someone who had an adjustable rate mortgage of $1,500 in January, because of all the charges and all the changes, it could very easily go up to $2,200 a month, which is a dramatic difference. As someone who does, other than we do not have an adjustable rate mortgage. I do not keep consumer debt. We just bought a new to us car, and we saved the money in order to buy it. We did not take out a loan, even though one was offered to us. We don't borrow money. So what I'm saying to you is that if you are someone who has not been living as a frugal tightwad, your goals right now is to pay off debt, and that includes curtailing all spending. And that's pretty dramatic, and it's meant to be dramatic, because as Dave Ramsey says, you're eating beans and rice and beans. The only time you see the inside of a restaurant is if you're working there. This is what he calls the gazelle-like period that you should be entering into. This is where you find alternative ways to save money, and that includes not going on vacations. That means not buying new clothing. That means re-wearing the same dress that you wore last year to a wedding. That means not going to the movies and things like that. There are lots of movies I would very much like to see, but we are waiting till we are able to see it either on TV or in a much cheaper. There's a much cheaper format. I'm sure that things like Top Gun and things like that will be out in a cheaper way to see it in a couple of weeks and or months, and that's what we're waiting for. So if you are someone who has not been frugal and has not been a tightwad for the last several years, this is the time to get really serious, because the reason why the rates were raised, I am not a financial analyst, you can hear this every day on the news, is because they are concerned about a recession might be coming, and they are worried about the high inflation and things like $5 a gallon gas. So this is the time to get serious about your consumer debt. This is the time to cut back spending. this is the time to get a second job if you, because as Dave Ramsey would say, your income is your greatest wealth building tool. So the biggest things, even if you are a frugal tightwad like myself, this is the time to still be serious about savings. If you are someone who has not been a frugal tightwad, this is the time to get really serious about not spending money, get a second job, and really start to cut back on your consumer debt, because these interest rate charges and changes are really going to affect how much you have to pay. And it becomes more and more difficult to get out behind the debt if you do not start paying off those loans and things like that, and the credit cards. This is Leslie. This is my frugal thought for the day. And this is just a little bit of extra encouragement you may need to, because I think a lot of people don't really specifically understand what it means if the Federal Reserve raised the interest rates. So hopefully this will help you a little bit, to give you a little incentive to get ahead of your debt. I know it can be hard if you're hearing it day in and day out, but it is really important right now to really get ahead of your of your consumer debt. Thank you so much for watching my channel. This is Leslie. This is my series of Frugal Thoughts. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye now.